Foreign warships pulled into Fleet Base West last Monday. 9 under cover of darkness, all lights off. Mainstream news for the last 3 days that Trump is running a shadow government, emulating Abraham Lincoln. But we all knew this. Chapter 11, right? Trump Executive Order 13818 seized the New York Stock Exchange. Pfizer is listed on the New York Stock Exchange as in Australia, so they have been seized. Remember, I talked about the Lima Agreement, and because of that executive order, Trump now owns the stock market and all of the things on the stock market, including Pfizer. Australia is loaded up with foreign special forces over the last 2 weeks. U.S., Russia, Spetsnaz, German, GSG 9, etc. Major scare events. So these are some events that are coming. Russia war with the EU and the U.S. China war with Taiwan. And U.S. and major U.S. missile nuclear crisis event. So we're going to be at war with China because of Taiwan and with Russia because of Ukraine at the same time. Now remember, that's a scare event. So if Russian forces move first, then Chinese Communist Party forces will move at the near same weeks or months time on Taiwan and divide the U.S. forces. That's the whole idea. Russian allegiance in the Middle East will move on countries that are backed by U.S. and EU. India-China border will come into battle. Pakistan-Afghanistan forces will face off with Iran and Russia. China coming into the battle, and then the Middle East will erupt into battle. Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, Jordan will launch battalions against one another. So everybody will just jump in. Almost all countries will strike in the moments the U.S. forces are being divided into conflict. Because, you know what, if we're divided, we can't defend, any other countries. With God willing, may this world war only be a scare event, and the military of the 30 major nations arrest the deep state in their own countries in these moments planned. The world is connected, Q. So I would definitely say your prayers. Because, even though it's meant to be a scare event, you just never know. So say your prayers, pray for peace, and pray that this event is nothing more than a scare event. World War III breaking out as Russian nuclear submarine carrying 16 Bulava SLBMs with 10 Merved warheads detected off the coast of the U.S. Russia moves into Ukraine. U.S. Navy positioned USS Harry S. Truman aircraft carrier and its battle group in the Adriatic Sea. U.S. nuclear subs makes port call in Tromsø to collect supplies. The U.S. nuclear-powered submarine USS Washington is armed with cruise missiles and is tasked to patrol northern waters where Russian submarines sail out from the Kola Peninsula. And this is from the Barents Observer. I think I showed you this yesterday. Headline reads, here's the American game plan for nuclear war with Russia. First of all, Russia's not the enemy of the U.S. That's what fake news wants U.S. to think. Secondly, the military, much less a general, won't reveal the game plan and call NATO. NATO's the enemy of freedom. This movie is amazing. Deep state propaganda at its finest. Here it is if you want to read this trash to see how they flip it. Authorities confirmed that 4 missiles were launched at the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. The area where the U.S. Embassy is located houses the diplomatic. U.S. Embassy compound was attacked this evening by terrorist groups attempting to undermine Iraq's security, sovereignty, and international relations. Because the U.S. is being blackmailed by the Chinese government, CCP, expect the story to break next Monday, January 17th. That's today. White Hat's movie Force of Nature with Patriot Mel Gibson going into the storm on Amazon Prime Video. That's like a one to watch. A Tonga underwater volcano eruption. We talked about that. Believed to be man-made. There was a dome underneath. And then we've got all these tsunami warnings taking place. And I believe they're still taking place. And Hawaii, California, I mean, just everywhere. Japan, even parts of South America. Some tsunami waves hit the coastline of Peru. Damage is reported. Flooding in Santa Cruz. And it will erupt again soon, says a volcano expert who camped at the site. Well, I guess once they detonated something there one time, I guess it's, ready to do it again. The Argentinian town of Santa Isabel has been forced to shut off its lights for several days in an effort to persuade the millions of bugs that have invaded its streets to leave and look for another place to stay. The town of some 2,500 in Argentina's central province of La Pampa has been plagued by swarms of beetles for over a week. They are everywhere, in the houses, in the shops. Deputy Mayor Christian Echegaray complained to the media. I'm wondering if this little Argentinian town is that German town where the Nazis fled to. It's hard to find, but it's there and you can tell it's German. And it's in the middle of the mountains of Argentina. On Sunday, January 16th, the south and eastern seaboard were covered in a major snowstorm and in danger of losing electricity. Ukraine says Russia not responsible for the massive cyber attack, claims a cyber espionage group backed by Belarusian intelligence hacked Ukrainian government websites. Germany is sending warships to the South China Sea. They are part of NATO. Russian invasion of Ukraine is inevitable and imminent. At this point, talks have completely broken down, and NATO is not giving in to any concessions. And, I understand Russia's position, so I don't consider Russia the enemy. I think Russia's defending itself, trying to make sure that, the people are safe, which is what they're supposed to do. Russia is moving closer to Ukraine. Reports of Su-25 SM-3 attack aircraft and Mi-28NUB, Ka-52, and Mi-8AMTSH helicopters, Mi-24 and Mi-8s moving into Crimea, according to reports. So they've been reporting about seeing helicopters moving into that area for about a week now, I think. The U.S. Navy has positioned the USS Harry Truman aircraft carrier and its battle group in the Adriatic Sea, only 800 kilometers away from Ukraine. And Israel was hit by massive flooding. How about that? Cars were submerged underwater and streets were turned into turbulent rivers in Israel cities over the weekend after torrential rain and cold weather battered the nation and led to flash flooding. You never hear about Israel getting flooded. But there's a lot of tunnels underneath there in Jerusalem, and there has to be some flooding.